Hello, everyone. It's Kim Wilson, and I am delighted to be introducing week 2 of People on the Move. And this week, we're going to talk about money, basically the financial journey of refugees. So here's a quick refresher. First of all, I really would like to congratulate this group for some extremely thoughtful responses. I know I was showing some of them on Friday to my colleagues at Fletcher, and they were bowled over by the richness and the quality of the discussion threads. So you will see a summary of that discussion posted with this video because Ignacio Mas and I were so pleased that we felt we needed to get to some of the highlights. So a refresher from Professor Jacobson, which is we discussed a migration lens, which meant that many kinds of people are weaving together and they're blended. And so migration is no longer clean cut, so to speak. It's mostly people that are migrating voluntarily and involuntarily. And there are extremes, which we talked about during the discussion threads. We have everybody that is from being students who come to different countries on a visa to those that are trafficked. And then a large chunk are forced migrants, which lie somewhere in between. And we're seeing more and more families moving now, as well as women. And the migration systems are actually flows that go back and forth to areas. They're not necessarily one directional. And it includes people, goods, and of course money. And that's what we're going to talk about this week, which are the ways in which migrants and refugees amass and spend their funds. So here's a glimpse of the week. First, there are highlights of the discussion threads. Those are posted. And on Monday, we're asking you to do as much of the reading as you can. Please do read the 10 Borders piece by Nicholas Schmidl from The New Yorker. It's really quite good. On Tuesday, we'll post a second discussion question, and we'll also release a conversational video between myself and Roxani about the financial journey of refugees. On Wednesday, we're going to release some field notes on the financial journey of refugees in their raw form to see what you make of them. And these are taken from a 4-country study. And those countries were Greece, Turkey, Jordan, and Denmark. We're very grateful our sponsors, the Catholic Relief Services, Danish Refugee Council, GIZ, and the Hitachi Center for Technology and International Affairs at Fletcher helped support this study. And it was to determine how migrants and refugees amass funds in preparation for their journey, if they can prepare, if they have the time, and gather and manage them en route. It was not to necessarily understand financial issues at their country of destination, although we did collect some information on that. And like most studies, we started out with a literature review, did some field research using both information from key informants as well as refugees and migrants themselves. We had 2 major findings, which I'll tell you now so that it makes sense of some of the information you'll get this week. There's a big difference between how people manage their funds on short hauls versus long hauls. So I'm calling short hauls very multi-directional kinds of journeys that happen in the Middle East from country to country. And long hauls are basically unidirectional. For example, Afghanistan to Denmark or Iran to Germany. So there's something about these different kinds of journeys that very much affects the financial composition of people's lives that are undertaking those journeys. And then the last is there's 2 basic strategies. This may sound too basic to even mention, but there is an amass and deplete strategy, meaning saving up in advance and then depleting over time along the journey, and then a gather and spend one, which is you don't have all the funds you need to make it from point A to point B, or point Z actually, because there's many points along the way. And so you are gathering and spending as you go. And how you gather and spend is what we're going to be discussing this week. I look forward to it, and thank you so much for your robust comments this week.